Life Without Love. In a quaint little town nestled between mountains, there lived a man named Ethan. Ethan was known for his brilliance, his meticulous work, and his devotion to the small library he owned. Books surrounded him, and their stories filled his world. Yet in the quiet corners of his life, he often felt an emptiness he couldn't quite name. Ethan had never been in love, not because he didn't believe in it, but because he feared it. He feared the vulnerability, the chaos, the unpredictable nature of letting someone into his heart. Over time, he convinced himself that love was a distraction, a fleeting emotion that would only complicate his carefully curated solitude. Years went by, and Ethan's routine remained the same. Mornings were for coffee and cataloging books, afternoons were for quiet readings, and evenings were spent walking along the riverbank under a sky painted with stars. He told himself he was content. After all, he had his books, his peaceful life, and the certainty of no heartbreak. One day, a young woman named Mira moved to the town. She was a painter, vibrant and full of life, with an infectious laughter that seemed to echo through the streets. Mira visited Ethan's library often, searching for inspiration in the stories within the old, dusty books. She tried striking up conversations with Ethan, but he always kept them brief, polite, and distant. Despite his guarded demeanor, Mira's warmth began to chip away at Ethan's walls. She would leave him small, hand-painted bookmarks or share stories of her colorful childhood. Slowly, Ethan found himself looking forward to her visits, though he didn't dare admit it to himself. One evening, as the first snow of the season began to fall, Mira asked Ethan a question that shook him. "Ethan, have you ever truly lived? Not through books, but through your own heart?" Her words lingered long after she left the library. That night, Ethan stared out of his window, watching the snow blanket the town. For the first time, he felt the full weight of his loneliness. His life, though orderly and serene, had been devoid of the warmth and chaos of love. The next morning, Ethan made a decision. He walked to Mira's studio, nervous and uncertain, but determined. He found her painting a winter scene, her face glowing in the soft light. "I think," he began hesitantly, "I've been living half a life, and I want to learn the other half with you." Mira smiled, her eyes glistening with warmth. "It's never too late to start living, Ethan." And so, Ethan's life changed. Love, he realized, wasn't a distraction. It was the story he had been missing all along.